The space station Harmony floated like a silver snowflake against the black of space. Lieutenant Olivia Martinez stood at attention in the main reception hall. Her dark blue medical uniform felt too tight around her neck today. This was her first diplomatic mission, and she didn't want to make any mistakes. "Remember," Captain Daniel Wright whispered to the assembled human crew, "the Zoraxians value strength and formality." No smiling, no casual gestures. Olivia nodded. She had studied the briefing materials about the newly discovered alien civilization. The Zoraxians were tall, with skin that shimmered like polished copper. They had 4 arms and eyes that glowed, blue in the dark. They were proud warriors with strict social rules. The station's lights dimmed slightly, signaling the arrival of the royal delegation. The massive doors at the end of the hall slid open with a soft hiss. Emperor Daxroth entered. First, he stood nearly 8 feet tall, his upper set of arms decorated with intricate metal bands that showed his battle victories. Behind him walked 6 royal guards, their faces hidden behind helmets shaped like snarling beasts. And then came the princess. Princess Curvoth was smaller than her father, but moved with the same proud steps. Unlike the other Zoraxians, who wore formal armor, she was dressed in simpler clothes that resembled a fighter's training gear. Her lower left arm bore a black band, a sign of protest in Zoraxian culture, though Olivia didn't know what the princess was protesting. "She doesn't want to be here," whispered Samantha, another human medic standing beside Olivia. The princess's glowing eyes scanned the room with obvious distaste. When her gaze fell on the human delegation, her upper lip curled slightly. "Ambassador." Lisa Chun stepped forward. "Emperor Daxroth, we welcome you and your delegation to Harmony Station. We hope this meeting marks the beginning of a peaceful relationship between our peoples." The Emperor nodded once, a small movement that seemed to cost him great effort. "The Zoraxian Empire acknowledges your welcome." Princess Curvoth made a soft noise that sounded like disgust. Her father shot her a warning look. The formal greetings continued. Olivia tried not to fidget as various officials exchanged practiced words. The princess looked even more bored than Olivia felt. Then several things happened at once. A small device rolled across the floor, stopping near the center of the room. One of the Zoraxian guards shouted a warning. Ambassador Chon yelled, "Everyone down." Olivia's training kicked in. She dropped to the floor just as a blast shook the room. The explosion wasn't large, but it sent strange blue-green shards flying everywhere. The air filled with screams and shouts. Olivia looked up through the smoke. Several people were down. The Emperor was surrounded by his guards. But the Princess Curvoth lay on the floor about 20 feet away. A large piece of the strange blue-green material was embedded in her side, and copper-colored blood pooled beneath her dot. Without thinking, Olivia ran to her. "Stop!" shouted one of the Zoraxian guards, moving to block her. "No human touches the royal blood. She needs immediate medical attention," Olivia snapped back. "I'm a combat medic." The guard raised a weapon, but then a deep voice cut through the chaos. "Let the human pass." It was Emperor Daxroth. His eyes glowed with an intensity that made Olivia shiver. She knelt beside the princess. The injury was bad. The strange material seemed to be dissolving into the princess's copper skin, sending dark lines spreading outward from the wound. "I need my med kit," Olivia called out. Someone she didn't see who pressed the familiar case into her hands. Olivia worked quickly. First, she cut away the fabric around the wound. The princess's skin was hot to the touch, much hotter than a human's would be. The princess's eyes fluttered open. "Get away from me, human," she hissed weakly. "I'm trying to help you," Olivia said, not looking up from her work. She scanned the wound with her medical device. This material is releasing a toxin into your system. The princess tried to sit up, but fell back with a groan. Olivia applied a stabilizing gel around the wound. This will slow the spread of the toxin, but I need to get you to our medical bay. The shrapnel has to come out. One of the Zeraxian royal. Physicians pushed forward. We will take the princess to our ship. There's no time, Olivia argued. Your ship is docked 2 levels down. Our medical bay is just off this hall. The physicians started to object, but the princess suddenly convulsed, her back arching in pain. Emperor Daxroth moved forward, his massive frame casting a shadow over Olivia. Take her to your medical bay, human. Save her. 2 human security. Officers brought a floating stretcher. Carefully, they transferred the princess onto it. Olivia kept pressure on the wound as they moved quickly through the corridors. The Emperor and 2 of his guards followed close behind Dot in the medical bay. Dr. George Rivera was already preparing for their arrival. What happened? He asked as they transferred the princess to the examination table. Some kind of explosive device, Olivia explained. The shrapnel is releasing a toxin. It's spreading fast. Dr. Rivera scanned the wound with more advanced equipment. This is unlike anything I've seen before. It seems specifically designed to attack Zeraxian physiology. The princess's breathing had become labored. The dark lines spreading from her wound now reached halfway across her torso. We need to remove the shrapnel now, Olivia said. Dr. Rivera nodded. Prep for emergency surgery. Emperor Daxroth stepped forward, his massive frame seeming to fill. The room. You will save my daughter, humans. It wasn't a request. It was a command. Dr. Rivera met the Emperor's glowing gaze. We'll do everything we can, Your Majesty. More than that, the Emperor said. Hear me now. To the one who saves Princess Kurvoth, I offer the Emperor's reward. A shocked murmur ran through the Zeraxian guards. One of them actually took a step back. What is this Emperor's reward? Dr. Rivera asked. It is the highest honor of our people, the Emperor said. Never before offered to an outsider. Save her, and you will see. Olivia didn't care about rewards. She cared about saving her patient. As nurses prepared surgical tools and monitoring equipment, she leaned close to the princess. I'm going to help you, she promised quietly. But you need to fight too. The princess's eyes flickered open. They glowed dimly now, like fading stars. Why would you help me, human? She whispered. I am your enemy. No, Olivia said firmly. You're my patient. And I don't let my patients die. For just a moment, something like respect flashed in the princess's eyes. Then they closed as the L. Anesthesia took effect. Olivia straightened her shoulders and turned to the surgical team. Let's get started. The surgery lasted 5 hours. Olivia worked alongside Dr. Rivera, carefully removing each piece of the strange blue-green shrapnel from the princess's body. The material seemed to fight them, breaking into smaller pieces when they tried to extract. This was designed to be lethal, Dr. Rivera said quietly. Someone really wanted her dead. Olivia nodded, wiping sweat from her forehead with her sleeve. Look at how the toxin spreads along their circulatory pathways. Whoever made this knew Zeraxian physiology very well. When they finally removed the last visible piece, they ran 3 separate scans to make sure nothing remained. The princess's vital signs had stabilized, but the toxin had already spread throughout much of her body. Olivia stepped out of the surgical room to face Emperor Daxroth, who had not left the medical bay. We've removed all the shrapnel, she reported, but the toxin remains in her system. We need to develop an antidote. The Emperor's glowing eyes narrowed. Our physicians will take over now. With all due respect, Olivia said, standing her ground. We've just spent 5 hours learning how this toxin works. We should continue to be involved in her treatment. A tall Xeraxian in elaborate robes stepped forward. This is Xeraxian royal blood. It is not for humans to touch or treat. And who are you? Olivia asked. I am Vexler, cultural attach and advisor to the Emperor. Captain Wright appeared at Olivia's side. Lieutenant Martinez is our best combat toxicologist. She has extensive experience with weaponized chemicals. The Emperor studied Olivia for a long moment. Very well. The human medic will continue to assist. But Princess Curvoth returns to our ship once she is stable for transport. That could be days, Dr. Rivera warned. Moving her now would be dangerous. The Emperor gave a single nod and left the room with most of his entourage. Only 2 guards remained, standing like statues on either side of the recovery room door. Over the next 24 hours, Olivia barely left the princess's side. She took samples, ran tests, and consulted with her former professor, Dr. Samantha Collins, sending data through faster-than-light communication back to Earth. The toxin is attacking her respiratory system, Dr. Collins reported, but not like anything we've seen before. Xeraxians process oxygen differently than humans do. Olivia rubbed her tired eyes. How long does she have? At the current rate of deterioration? Maybe 3 days. Captain Wright visited late that night. His face was grim. This has turned into a diplomatic nightmare, Lieutenant. If the princess dies while under our care, she won't die, Olivia said firmly. I won't let that happen. Wright lowered his voice. The Emperor's reward has everyone talking. No non-Xeraxian has ever received it. This could be a huge opportunity for Earth. Olivia frowned. I'm not doing this for a reward. I'm doing it because she's my patient. Just keep that in mind, Wright said before leaving Dot around midnight. The princess woke up. Her glowing eyes were dimmer than before, but they fixed on Olivia with clear recognition. Still here, human? Her voice was weak, but carried the same proud tone. My name is Olivia Martinez, and yes, I'm still here. The princess tried to sit up, but couldn't. Frustration flashed across her face. How bad is it? Olivia decided honesty was best. Bad, the toxin is still spreading. We're working on an antidote, but we need to know more about your physiology. So I might die. The princess said this flatly, without fear. Not if I can help it. The princess was quiet for a moment. Why do you care if I live or die? I am nothing to you. That's not how humans think. At least, not how I think. Your people are strange. The princess turned her head away. My father should never have agreed to these peace talks. Xeraxians stand alone. We always have. Olivia checked the princess's vital signs. Sometimes standing together is stronger than standing alone. The princess made a sound that might have been a laugh. You sound like my mother. Before Olivia could respond, the princess's monitor began to beep rapidly. Her breathing became labored, and she clutched at her chest. What's happening? She gasped. Olivia quickly administered a medication to help stabilize her. The toxin is affecting your lung sacs. Try to take shallow breaths. The princess fought through the pain, her jaw clenched tight. When the episode passed, she was exhausted, but still conscious. You called me Princess Curvoth earlier, she said unexpectedly. That's your name, isn't it? My name is Curvoth Nara. To use only the first part is to address me as a child, without honor. Olivia nodded. I'm sorry, Princess Curvoth Nara. I didn't know. Now you do. The princess closed her eyes. Don't tell my father I told you that. He prefers to keep other species ignorant of our ways. The next morning, Dr. Collins sent a potential treatment formula. Olivia immediately began working to synthesize it in the lab. She was so focused that she didn't notice Vexler enter until he spoke. The human works hard to save her enemy. Olivia looked up from her equipment. She's not my enemy. Vixler moved closer, examining her work. Do you know why the princess wears the black band on her arm? No. She leads a faction that opposes all contact with humans. She believes your kind are a threat to our empire. Olivia continued working. As she replied, then why was she part of the delegation? The emperor insisted. He hoped exposure to humans might change her views. Vexler's tone suggested he found this unlikely. And what do you think of humans? Olivia asked. Vexler's expression remained neutral. I serve the emperor. My opinions are irrelevant. Later that day, when Olivia brought the newly synthesized treatment to the princess's room, she found her arguing with her father. I will not retract my position, the princess was saying weakly, but defiantly. The faction is right to question. She stopped when she saw Olivia. Emperor Daxroth turned. The human medic returns. Do you have a cure? A potential treatment, Olivia corrected, approaching the bed. It might slow the toxin while we work on something stronger. The emperor nodded and moved toward the door. Continue your work. When? They were alone. Olivia administered the treatment through the princess's foreline. What position won't you retract? Olivia asked as she worked. Princess Kurvoth Nara studied her for a moment before answering. I believe Zeraxians should remain separate from other species, especially humans. Even though humans are trying to save your life, one human's actions don't change the nature of your species. The princess winced as the medication entered. Her system. You're ambitious and expansionist. You'll consume our culture as you have others. Olivia checked the monitors. Is that what they teach you about us? It's what history shows. Maybe you should learn our history from us, instead of assuming the worst. The princess's eyes flashed. Maybe you should stop assuming you know what's best for everyone in the galaxy. Despite their disagreement, Olivia noticed the princesses. Breathing had already improved slightly. The treatment was working at least for now. By the second day, the treatment Olivia had created was no longer working. The toxin had adapted, continuing its slow destruction of the princess's respiratory system. Princess Kurvoth Nara's copper skin had taken on a grayish tint, and the dark lines from the toxin now covered most of her body. Dr. Collins sent new data from Earth. We need a compound called Zetherium, she explained over the video link. It's the only thing that can permanently bind to the toxin. Where do we get it? Olivia asked. That's the problem. It's only found on the Zeraxian home world. Olivia immediately went to speak with Emperor Daxroth, who was in a meeting with Captain Wright and several Zeraxian officials. Your Majesty, she said after being granted permission to enter, we need a substance from your planet to save the princess. It's called Zetherium. The Emperor's eyes widened slightly. How do you know of Zetherium? It is not shared with outsiders. Our scientists analyzed the toxin and determined it's the only thing that will work, Olivia explained. We need it within 48 hours. Vexler stepped forward. This is highly irregular. Zetherium is sacred to our people. More sacred than your princess's life? Olivia challenged. The room fell silent. Even Captain Wright looked shocked at her boldness. Finally, the Emperor spoke. I will send for it. But no humans will set foot on our world. Thank you, Olivia said. How long will it take to arrive? At fastest speed, 42 hours. Olivia's heart sank. That would be cutting it very close. Is there any way to get it here faster? No, the Emperor said firmly. This discussion is over. That night, Olivia sat beside the princess's bed, monitoring her condition. The princess was awake, but weak, her breathing shallow and labored. Your father is sending for Zetherium, Olivia told her. The princess's eyes flickered. When? It should arrive in about 42 hours. Princess Kurvoth Nara was quiet for a moment. That will be too late. What do you mean? Zetherium can be delivered. In 24 hours. My father is delaying. Olivia leaned closer. Why would he do that? The princess turned her head away. Politics. I have become inconvenient to him. You're his daughter. I am also his political problem. The princess's voice was bitter. I oppose his new policies of openness to other species. Many warriors follow my lead. Olivia frowned. So he would let you die? Not directly. But if the treatment arrives too late, ... She left the sentence unfinished. I don't believe that, Olivia said. He offered the Emperor's reward to whoever saves you. The princess made a sound that might have been a laugh. The Emperor's reward is a clever move. If I die, he shows he tried everything. If I live, he binds my savior to him with our highest honor. What exactly is this reward? Olivia asked. The princess studied her with glowing eyes. The recipient is granted one request that cannot be refused, even by the Emperor himself. It is a sacred oath, older than our empire. Olivia sat back, surprised. That's significant. Now you see why it has never been offered to an outsider before. The princess coughed, wincing in pain. No emperor would risk giving such power to another species. Olivia checked the princess's vital signs. They were getting worse. We need to find another solution, she said. Is there any way to create synthetic Zetherium? The princess was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, Perhaps. But I would need to tell you things no outsider is supposed to know. If it saves your life, isn't it worth it? Why do you care so much if I live or die, Olivia Martinez? The princess used her full name for the first time. I have made it clear I oppose your people. Olivia thought about her answer carefully. When I was younger, my brother Paul was a soldier. He died in a conflict with another alien species. There was no attempt at understanding, no medical cooperation, just fighting until he was killed. The princess watched her intently. I became a medic because I wanted to heal, not harm, Olivia continued. I believe understanding between species starts with caring for each other, not fighting each other. The princess closed her eyes. My mother believed something similar. She died when I was young. I'm sorry. She was poisoned by those who opposed her views on cooperation with other worlds. The princess opened her eyes again. That is why I have fought against my father's policies. I feared the same would happen to our entire species. Olivia was stunned by this revelation. And now you've been poisoned, too. Yes. Ironic, isn't it? The princess's voice was weaker now. Perhaps the universe has a sense of humor after all. After a long silence, the princess spoke again. If I tell you how to create synthetic Zetherium, will you make me a promise? What promise? If I die despite your efforts, do not blame my father. And if I live ... She paused, seeming to gather strength. If I live, use the Emperor's reward wisely. It could change the relationship between our peoples forever. I promise, Olivia said. The princess nodded. Very well. You will need to access the station's mineral fabricator. Zetherium is composed of 3 elements. For the next several hours, Olivia worked with Science Officer Alan Porter in the station's laboratory. The princess had provided the molecular structure of Zetherium, which was unlike anything Olivia had seen before. This is incredible, Porter said as they programmed the fabricator. If we can synthesize this correctly, it could revolutionize our understanding of alien biochemistry. Let's focus on saving the princess first, Olivia reminded him. They worked through the night. By morning, they had created a small amount of synthetic Zetherium. It glowed with a soft purple light. Will it work? Porter asked. Only one way, too. Find out, Olivia said, carefully placing the substance in a sealed container. When she returned to the medical bay, she found Wexler standing beside the princess's bed. He turned quickly, looking surprised to see her. Lieutenant Martinez. I was just checking on the princess's condition. Something about his manner made Olivia suspicious. How is she? Resting, he said, moving toward the door. I will inform the Emperor of her status. After he left, Olivia checked the princess's monitors. Her heart rate was elevated, and her oxygen levels had dropped. Princess? Olivia called softly. The princess's eyes opened slowly. He knows, she whispered. Knows what? That I told you about Zetherium. Her voice was barely audible. Be careful. He is not loyal to my father. He serves the old faction. Olivia quickly prepared the synthetic Zetherium for injection. As she worked, she noticed the door to the medical bay slide open. She turned, expecting to see Dr. Rivera. Instead, Vexler stood there with 2 Xeraxian guards. Step away from the princess, he ordered. You are no longer authorized to treat her. Olivia stood her ground. I have a treatment that will save her life. That, Vexler said, pointing to the glowing purple substance, is sacred to our people. Its creation by humans is blasphemy. One of the guards moved forward, but Olivia quickly loaded the Zetherium into an injector. If you take one more step, she warned, I'll administer this right now. You wouldn't dare, Vexler hissed. The princess's monitor began to alarm. Her vital signs were crushing. Olivia had to make a choice. Olivia didn't hesitate. As the princess's vital signs continued to drop, she pushed past Vexler and pressed the injector against the princess's arm. The purple Zetherium glowed brightly as it entered her system. Guards, seize her! Vexler shouted. The 2 Xeraxian guards moved forward, but before they could reach Olivia, the door slid open again. Security Officer John Carter entered with 3 armed human guards. What's going on here? Carter demanded. This human has violated sacred Xeraxian law, Vexler said, pointing at Olivia. She must be detained. I'm saving the princess's life. Olivia countered. Vexler tried to prevent me from administering the treatment. Carter looked from Olivia to Vexler, then at the princess lying on the bed. No one is being detained until Captain Wright gets here. Everyone stay where you are. The standoff lasted 10 tense minutes. Olivia kept her eyes on the princess's monitors, watching for any change. The synthetic Zetherium was working its way through her system, but there was no improvement, yet Captain Wright arrived with Emperor Daxroth. The Emperor's glowing eyes took in the scene at once. What has happened here? He demanded. Vexler stepped forward. Your Majesty, this human has created and administered synthetic Zetherium to the princess. It is a violation of our most sacred laws. Is this true? The Emperor asked Olivia. Yes, she admitted. The princess told me the real Zetherium wouldn't arrive in time to save her. She helped me create a synthetic version. The princess would never reveal such secrets, Vexler protested. My daughter has always made her own decisions, the Emperor said. His tone was hard to read. He moved to the princess's bedside. Will she live? I don't know yet, Olivia said honestly. The treatment should bind to the toxin and neutralize it, but her system has been badly damaged. The Emperor was silent for a long moment. Then he turned to Vexler. You said you were checking on my daughter earlier. What did you do? Vexler's posture stiffened. Nothing, Your Majesty. I merely observed her condition. The princess said Vexler is not loyal to you, Olivia said. She said he serves the old faction. The Emperor's eyes narrowed dangerously. Is this true, Vexler? The human lies, Vexler said, but his voice wavered slightly. Suddenly, the princess's monitor changed its tone. Everyone turned to look. Her vital signs were stabilizing. The dark lines on her skin were fading, starting from where the Zetherium had been injected. It's working, Olivia said with relief. Vexler made a sudden movement. He pulled out a small weapon that had been hidden in his robes and aimed it at the princess. "If she lives, everything we have fought for dies," he snarled. Several things happened at once. The Xeraxian guards moved to protect the Emperor. Captain Wright shouted a warning, and Olivia threw herself across the princess's body. There was a flash of light and a sharp burning sensation in Olivia's shoulder. She heard shouting and the sounds of a struggle, but she kept her position, shielding the princess. When she looked up, Vexler was being held by the guards. His weapon lay on the floor, and one side of his face was badly burned, apparently from one of the human guards' weapons. "Lieutenant, are you hurt?" Captain Wright asked, rushing to her side. Olivia moved away from the princess, wincing at the pain in her shoulder. "Just a graze, I think." Dr. Rivera hurried in, quickly examining Olivia's wound. "You'll need treatment, but it's not serious." Emperor Daxroth stood watching them, his expression unreadable. "You protected my daughter with your own body." "It's my job to protect my patient," Olivia said simply. The Emperor nodded once. "Vexler will be questioned thoroughly. If what you say is true, and he serves those who oppose me, many will be discovered and punished." "What about the synthetic?" "Zetherium?" Olivia asked. "I know it's sacred to your people. I wouldn't have created it if there was any other way to save the princess." "That will be addressed later," the Emperor said. "For now, continue treating my daughter." Over the next 3 days, Princess Kurvoth Nara remained unconscious. The Zetherium worked exactly as intended, binding to the toxin and neutralizing it. The dark lines faded from her skin, and her breathing grew stronger. But still, she didn't wake up. Olivia barely left her side. Her own shoulder healed quickly with proper treatment. Captain Wright visited several times, bringing updates on the diplomatic situation. Vexler confessed, he told Olivia on the 3rd day. He was working with a group of Xeraxian extremists who oppose any contact with other species. They were behind the assassination attempt. "Has the real Zetherium arrived yet?" Olivia asked. Wright nodded. "Yesterday." The Emperor seemed surprised. "When he saw it, said something about it being lesser quality than what you created." Olivia raised an eyebrow. "Really?" "Apparently, you and Porter managed to create a purer form than what they usually use. The science team is very interested in how you did it." Later that evening, as Olivia was checking the princess's vital signs for the 100th time, she noticed a change. The princess's eyelids were fluttering. "Princess?" Olivia called softly. "Can you hear me?" Slowly, the glowing blue eyes opened. They were brighter now, almost back to their original intensity. "Olivia Martinez," the princess said, her voice weak but clear. "You are still here." "Of course I am," Olivia smiled. "How do you feel?" "Like I was poisoned, treated with synthetic Zetherium, and unconscious for days." Despite the dry words, there was no hostility in the princess's tone. "Did all that really happen?" "Yes, and Vexler tried to kill you again when he saw the treatment was working." The princess's eyes widened. "Is he in custody?" "Your father is questioning him and his co-conspirators." The princess was quiet for a moment. "And you were injured protecting me." Olivia touched her bandaged shoulder. "It's nothing serious." "Why would you risk your life for me, after everything I said about humans?" "Because it was the right thing to do," Olivia said simply. The princess studied her face. "Perhaps I have been wrong about humans, or at least about you." "High praise coming from you," Olivia said with a small smile. "Do not become overconfident, human." But the princess's eyes had a new warmth to them. "My father, is he very angry about the Zetherium?" "He hasn't said much about it. But according to Captain Wright, he was impressed by the quality of what we created." The princess actually smiled at that. I would have liked to see his face when he realized humans had improved upon one of our most sacred substances. A thought occurred to Olivia. Will you be in trouble for telling me about it? Perhaps, but I am already in trouble for many things. The princess tried to sit up, but was still too weak. Help me, please. Olivia carefully adjusted the bed so the princess could sit up partially. Better? Yes. The princess took a deeper breath than she had been able to in days. My father will be coming soon, now that I am awake. Before he does, there is something. I must tell you. What is it? When my father offers you the Emperor's reward, you must be very careful what you ask for. The princess's eyes were intense. It could change everything for both our peoples. A week later, Princess Kurvoth Nara was strong enough to stand. Her recovery had been faster than anyone expected, which Dr. Rivera attributed to the purity of the synthetic Zetherium. The princess spent much of her recovery time talking with Olivia, asking questions about Earth and human culture. So in your society, anyone can speak against your leaders without punishment? The princess asked one afternoon. Yes, it's considered a fundamental right, Olivia explained. We believe the best ideas come from open discussion and debate. The princess considered this. On Zorax, challenging the Emperor publicly is forbidden. That is why I formed my faction in secret. Is that why you wear the black band? The princess touched the band on her lower left arm. Yes, it was my mother's. She wore it to protest the old traditions that kept our people isolated and unchanging. I thought you were against contact with other species, Olivia said, confused. I am against blind trust and hasty alliances, the princess clarified. My mother believed in careful, thoughtful exchange of ideas and technology. After she was poisoned, I feared the same would happen to our entire culture if we opened ourselves too quickly. Olivia began to understand. So you're not against contact, you just want it to happen carefully, on your terms. Yes, but few listened to that message. It was easier to be seen as completely against change than to explain the nuance of my position. The princess stood up from her bed, testing her strength. Now that Vexler and his conspirators have been exposed, perhaps more. We'll listen. That evening, Captain Wright came to the medical bay with important news. The Emperor has scheduled the reward ceremony for tomorrow, he told Olivia. It will take place in the main hall where the first meeting was held. Olivia nodded. She had been expecting this. The ambassador wants to brief you on diplomatic protocol, Wright continued. This is a historic moment, the first time a human has received a Zoraxian honor. I understand, Olivia said. After Wright left, the princess spoke. Have you decided what you will ask for? Olivia sat down beside the bed. I've been thinking about it. What would you suggest? The princess seemed surprised by the question. You would ask my advice? Why not? You understand your people and their politics better than anyone. The princess was quiet for a long moment. Most would ask for wealth or power. Some might ask for advanced Zoraxian technology. What would you ask for if you were me? Something that would benefit both our peoples, the princess said thoughtfully. Something that would build trust slowly, carefully. Olivia smiled. That sounds wise. The next day, Olivia wore her formal uniform for the ceremony. The main hall had been decorated with both Earth and Zoraxian symbols. The entire station's crew was present, along with the Zoraxian delegation. Emperor Daxroth stood on a raised platform, wearing elaborate ceremonial armor that gleamed under the lights. Princess Kurvoth Nara stood beside him, still looking pale, but proud in her formal attire. She had replaced the black band with a purple one, the color of ZET, her IUM. Captain Wright escorted Olivia to the center of the hall. The room fell silent. Lieutenant Olivia Martinez, the Emperor's voice filled the room. You have saved the life of my daughter, Princess Kurvoth Nara, using both human and Zeraxian knowledge. For this, you have earned the Emperor's reward, never before granted to one not of Zeraxian blood. He raised all 4 of his arms. By ancient law and sacred tradition, you may ask one thing of the Emperor, which cannot be refused. Choose your reward. Ambassador Chun had briefed Olivia extensively on what to ask for technology, rights, trade agreements, military alliances. Captain Wright had his own suggestions about securing advantages for Earth. But as Olivia stood there, she remembered her conversations with the princess. She thought about her brother Paul, who had died because 2 species couldn't find a way to understand each other. Your Majesty, Olivia began, her voice clear and steady. I ask for the establishment of a joint medical exchange program between humans and Zeraxians. A program where doctors and healers from both our worlds can learn from each other, share knowledge, and work together to save lives. A murmur ran through the crowd. This was not what anyone had expected. The Emperor's glowing eyes narrowed slightly. You ask for knowledge, not power or wealth. Knowledge that benefits both our peoples. Olivia said, the synthetic Zetherium showed what we can accomplish when we combine our understanding. Imagine what else we could learn from each other, how many more lives we could save. The Emperor was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded once. So, it shall be. The exchange program will be established, as you have requested. Olivia glanced at the princess, who gave her a small nod of approval. But then Princess Kurvoth Nara stepped forward. Father, I wish to invoke the challenge of intent. The Emperor turned to his daughter, surprised. You challenge the human's reward? No, the princess said. I challenge your commitment to it. This program must be more than a token gesture. It must be given proper resources and authority. A tense silence fell over the hall. The challenge of intent was an ancient Zeraxian custom that allowed a royal family member to question the implementation of a decree. The Emperor's eyes glowed brighter with what might have been anger. What do you propose, daughter? That I lead the Zeraxian side of this exchange, the princess said firmly, and that Lieutenant Martinez lead the human side. Together, we will ensure it succeeds. Olivia held her breath. This was far more than she had expected. After what seemed like an eternity, the Emperor spoke. You have always been stubborn, Kurvoth Nara. Like your mother. There was a hint of something like respect in his voice. Very well. The challenge is accepted. You will lead the Zeraxian delegation, and Lieutenant Martinez will lead the human side if she accepts. All eyes turned to Olivia. I accept, she said without hesitation. Later, after the formal celebrations had ended, Olivia found the princess standing alone on an observation deck, looking out at the stars. Thank you, Olivia said, joining her at the window, for what you did in there. I should be thanking you, the princess replied. You chose a wise reward, one that will truly benefit both our peoples. And now you'll be working together to make it happen. The princess nodded. It will not be easy. There will be resistance on both sides. We'll face it together, Olivia said confidently. We've already proven what we can accomplish when we work together. Yes, we have. The princess turned to look at Olivia directly. My father believes I challenged him to continue my rebellion. He does not yet understand that I have found a new way forward. And what way is that? The way my mother envisioned. Careful, thoughtful cooperation. The princess looked back at the stars. You humans have a saying, I believe, about taking small steps. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, Olivia quoted. Yes, today we took a small step, but it may lead to a giant leap for both our peoples. The next morning, Olivia received a message from Earth Command. They were offering her a promotion and a position at the main medical center in New Washington. It would be a prestigious assignment, far from the dangers of space, that she wrote her reply immediately, declining the offer. Her place was here, working with Princess Kurvoth Nara on the medical exchange program. As she prepared to send the message, there was a knock at her door. It was the princess. "Are you ready, Lieutenant Martinez?" she asked. "The first meeting of the exchange program starts in an hour." Olivia smiled and pressed send on her message. "I'm ready, Princess Kurvoth Nara." As they walked together down the corridor of Harmony Station, Olivia realized that this was exactly where she was meant to be. Not just saving one life, but potentially thousands, both human and Xeraxian. The princess seemed to read her thoughts. "My father still does not understand why you chose knowledge over power for your reward." "And what do you think?" Olivia asked. The princess's eyes glowed warmly. "I think humans may be wiser than we believed. At least some of them are." Coming from the once rebellious princess, it was the highest compliment Olivia could imagine.